What's up, everybody? It's time for an Overreaction Monday show right here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff. He's Anwar. Do us a solid. Hit that thumbs up button. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're creeping up on 140,000. Kind of cool as we break down the aftermath of San Jose State. We look ahead to UTEP. We talk a lot about Arch Manning. Steve Sarkeesian will talk to the media later today. Anwar, it's on the thumbnail. It is the topic that emerged from Saturday that no one seems to be able to completely shake, even though Steve Sarkeesian was asked about it. There's this idea that maybe something's wrong with Arch Manning. It keeps getting brought up. The school and Arch and his coach keep kind of dismissing it, and yet here we are. We were thinking about what do we talk about today, and it feels like if we didn't lead off with this, we would just be ignoring the thing that if people still talk around a water cooler in 2025, this is kind of it. It's, is he okay? Is he injured? What's going on? Why did he make the grimace? Is anybody going to ask the tough questions? And it's like, well, no, they asked about it on Saturday. Will anybody ask it again? It is turned into a thing.
It's a thing, Catch. And there's a lot of layers to undress about it. Like, are we just jumping in, or are we jumping in the deep end, or are we just starting at the shallow end and working our way down? Like, let me know.
That's all relative, because some people's shallow end is a deep end for somebody else.
So here's the deal, all right? Because it's Overreaction Monday, all right? There's two. I always say there's two things in life that can be true, right? It doesn't always have to be a world of absolutes. We can ask Sark, media members can ask Sark, is there something wrong with Arch? And what's going to happen is Steve Sarkeesian in the season will never tell you that anything is wrong with any one of his players. Can't happen, won't happen. That's just who he is. Listen.
All you got to do is Xavier Worthy had busted his shoulder up in a Texas game. In the NFL, they're like separated shoulder. He's going to be out for a minute. Sark would be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Dude, I've gone through this in my head. It's 100%. There's a couple of notable ones over the last few years. The first one was Casey Thompson, okay? Casey Thompson had the busted thumb. His thumb was absolutely jacked up. People asked him about it. Sark was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. What are you talking about? Now, it got to the point where Casey was built a little bit different than most people. Casey really was kind of about Casey to a certain degree.
Casey was like, let me show you guys what the hell is going
on. No. He's like, you take the photo. I'm going to put it here. No. Make sure the lighting's right. He's like, Casey's like, can you see it with the lighting? No. Do I right here? All right, take the picture.
It was mangled, though, to his credit.
But for Casey was like, look, man, I'm out here battling, and you're not taking me off the hook. People think that I'm the problem, and like I'm actually injured. You won't tell anybody, right? So we had that. Then we had the Xavier Worthy thing, and it was interesting because Xavier Worthy in that season was dropping balls. He was dropping balls. And remember, he had that the bowl game versus Washington and San Antonio.
Well, that was the most egregious.
And he dropped like 3 passes in that game, right? It was just like, what the hell is going on? And people were dogging on Xavier Worthy, right? And I still remember Jim Vittuno and Sark going back and forth about this. And at some point, Xavier has to, I think he had surgery or something in the offseason to kind of repair that. And so I remember Jim at some point asking him about, well, why didn't you just tell us that? Because you had people thinking that, there was something, that he just couldn't play. And Sark was like, I don't have to tell you. It was just like, I don't have to tell you. He's like, and I'm not going to tell you anything. And Sark's perspective was, I'm not going to tell anybody that something that will give the other team an advantage and give them something to zone in on. So he's like, I ain't telling you nothing.
So look, I think everybody knows Sark's a fibber with injuries. And there really has been it's added up over the weeks. I mean, I don't believe he said anything about Trey Wisner or Alex January on Thursday when he met with the media.
No, I think he said at last week he said they were healthy. Either on Monday, it may have been on Monday. He talked about them being healthy, or Thursday. But he ain't a guy that's coming out with the injury.
He did not say, "Look, Cedric Baxter will probably get like a lot more carries this week than normal because we're not sure we're going to play Trey Wisner." Like we just showed up on Saturday and Wisner was like, "Hey, Wisner's got a bunch of chains on his neck, but no uniform." It was like, "Oh, okay." And
why did that trigger people, by the way, that he was wearing chains? What
do you really speaking of, do you want to go into the shallow water or do you want to go into the deep end? Is that a question you really want to ask me?
No. I'm going to save you from yourself.
Look, I think you saved me from the deep end is what you're saving me from. Okay. So Sark can't be believed. And that, like you said, there are layers to this. I don't think Arch Manning is hurt.
You don't?
I don't. But
do you think he's injured? Do you think he's injured?
No, because I don't think the Manning family, his dad, the council of the Manning establishment, if he were hurt, it's one thing to be hurt and to be a proven guy. It's another thing to be hurt and to be kind of wildly unproven and to have all of these expectations and commercials. And on one hand, I can hear I think the normal person would be like, no, that's exactly why you would play, because of the outside pressures, because of the commercials. But I just think that a family that has been so patient that they've been like, we're good with waiting. I don't care that nobody's ever waited more than 2 years before. We'll wait till year 3. I think if he was banged up, I think they would sit him down, because if this happens, it's like the horses are out of the barn. Like I can remember when Garrett Gilbert played like crap and then his season ends and he has a labrum injury that gets surgery on, and you could not convince the fans that that was real. They were like, oh, he sucks. And they're just faking that injury so that he can go and get a red shirt this season. It was conspiracy theory city. I just don't feel like the Mannings would allow Arch to make his debut with like a problem. I think he's okay. And look, it's not like we saw, if he was really hurt or injured, I don't think you make one grimace face in the middle of the game and then it never reappears, because the moment Arch made that face throwing the ball over the middle, there was a camera glued to his face every time he threw the ball after that. There was. A TV director said, not that they didn't already have an Arch Manning cam, but they were like, oh, hey, if that kid so much as squints the rest of the game, we better see it. That it never popped up again, I think, lends to the idea that there's nothing there. But I will say this, and I wrote about it in my column yesterday, it just doesn't seem like he's throwing the ball effortlessly. It feels like, I can remember watching him throw the ball in his starts a year ago and watching him throw the ball down the field, and it just looked natural. It seemed like just as natural as Quinn would throw some of those balls out into the flat, kind of the shorter throws that are just like his bread and butter since he was 4 years old. Arch throwing down the field felt effortless. This year, I just find myself noticing, like, golly, man, he had to put every piece of mind, body, heart, and soul to get that ball out to the sideline. Just feels like everything's a little harder. And I don't know if it's because of his mechanics. I don't know if your feet are bad, everything else follows. Maybe he's got some dead arm. Like maybe there is something, right? It could be, hey, he's thrown more this year than he's ever thrown before. I don't know. But I don't think he's hurt, but I will say this, Anwar, there's a difference between saying I don't think he's hurt versus I know he's not hurt. Those are two wildly different things. And I don't know. I just think. And man, I think stuff all the time that's both right and wrong. I'm a professional thinker. I get 100 right a day and 200 wrong a day. And when you think as much as I do, you just are all over the map. So I don't know, man. I know this. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is for me, Catch, could it be something minor that they say you can play through? I think that's you got to put that on the table, right?
Well, you could have like a dead arm or something like that, right? Where it's not a major injury, but
it could be a sprain, like it could be just, a sprain, a shoulder sprain or something like that. It could be soreness, right? It could be, hell, I mean, he got hit a couple of times versus Ohio State. It could be something that he's just recovering from there, as ways. Because I'll be honest with you, Catch, if we can't say that's the thing and that's the reason why maybe things aren't looking perfect, then we got to go into the developmental process kind of question. And then we got to go into questioning a whole lot of other people, right? We got to start questioning, okay, well, what's going on with Milwee and what's going on with Sark and what's going on with all these other things. And I don't know, for me, it's easier at this moment to say there might be something that he's dealing with that we don't know, because Sark is never going to be forthcoming with injuries to that degree, especially if he feels like it's his quarterback. And especially we know all his quarterbacks have pretty much been hurt, Catch. Damn near all of them. Whether it's, it's a short list, but all of them, Casey, Hudson, Quinn,
all of them.
Arch, all of them have faced something, and maybe it's either the nature that I don't know if it's just the nature of the position or not, but all of them have faced something. And I feel like there's something that's there. There are other issues that plague this offense, and there are other things that go along with it. There are drop passes that have occurred. There are penalties that have occurred. We can get into the lack of speed or, in the questioning of playmakers. But from an art-specific kind of conversation, I don't know, Catch. Like, was the first throw against Ohio State that went into the dirt, was that nerves? Was that jitters? Or was it something else, right? Like, it makes you question a lot of different things. But Arch, while the numbers, if you just judge it strictly on the numbers off of Saturday, you would say, all right, well, cool. What are you talking about? But if you watched the game and you saw the eye test and saw what it could have been and probably should have been, and you saw some of the difficulties in there, it's either saying, hey, there might be something wrong, or saying, you know what, something over the last 3 years or this last summer didn't happen from a developmental standpoint. I'm holding off on that one, Catch, just because I'm like, well, which is more likely? Arch in year 3 hasn't developed, or your Arch in year 3 probably has some sort of minor injury that Sark ain't telling us about. For me, it's probably the latter.
I brought this up. It scares the hell out of people because of what it was. But Arch has made a couple of throws in the first couple of games of the season where his windup just seems more significant. That I described it in my article as it looks like he's holding a 10-pound football. That it just is like it just feels like a lot of work. I don't remember thinking that. And the last time I had thought that about a Texas quarterback, I can remember seeing Garrett Gilbert play as a sophomore in high school and walking out of the stadium that night in a loss to Austin Westlake and calling people up and saying, I just saw the next big thing. Like, this guy's going to be amazing. And then I can remember watching him as a senior after he had a labrum injury and had surgery, and then really didn't sit out anytime. Like, they rushed him back, I thought. And he played his entire senior season in a world where they just sat him out and got him ready for college in 2025. I can remember watching him throw the football that year and thinking to myself, what the hell is that? What's going on? Like, does not look the same. And I was like, well, he had the labrum injury, so he's just working through something. And it just never got better. Like for a while, for a couple of years, he just did not throw the football in a way that didn't look stressful. And then he had the labrum surgery, and it was like, I don't know. I just know what happened. I think what's weird is that we're leading with Arch because Arch is the topic. He's the starting quarterback. I'm reading the chat, and there's literally 1,000 opinions in the Specs chat about like what it is. No, this is ridiculous. You guys are making a mountain out of a molehill. And then there's the comment right after is like, hey man, he doesn't skip that ball if he's not hurt. And it's like, it's a topic. It's a weird thing. And yet I find myself coming out of Saturday's game and I'm thinking less about Arch, with all due respect to, is he hurt? Is he okay? I found myself, that is the most catgun offense I would ever imagine Steve Sarkeesian to ever have at any school he's ever been at. It's stunning the lack of like real explosiveness and pop and fear that the running back position and I think the wide receiver position right now brings to the table for Arch. For instance, if you were to say, and I guess you take Parker Livingston out of the equation for a second, because like we do need to acknowledge he's been pretty incredible so far. He won't get the other team's third corner a whole lot moving forward. It may be that teams are like, we can leave Wingo wide open. If you were to say, who's the guy on this team that you throw a hitch to because they might take it 80 yards, I don't know who in the hell that's supposed to be. You referenced Matthew. I was in your Sunday pulpit thread this morning, as a matter of fact. In fact, when the show's over, I asked you a question, and it may be that you just answer it now.
I'll answer it now, and then I'll answer it in the thread.
But you were talking about Matthew Golden and the 4.29 that he ran, and, Isaiah Bond, and we know that Jaden Blue, and it was like, who do we think is like last year they had a 4x1 team. And they've had that the last few years. You could go back to the year before that. And like Adonai Mitchell was no Xavier Worthy because who is?
Yeah.
But he was like 4.36.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just have had, and we know when Sark was at Alabama, he loved him some fast guys, the Jalen Waddles and the Smiths of the world, Levante Smiths of the world. And we know he started going to bigger receivers to some degree in the last couple of years in recruiting. I just don't know who Arch's playmaker is supposed to be. Who's the guy that scares the crap out of teams? I don't know where that guy is, and I'm a little shocked that Sark has allowed the offense to be somewhat pedestrian from a speed standpoint.
It's interesting, Catch, because that was Sark's thing that he hung his hat on, which was, we're going to have a track team out there. Like, if I don't give a damn, we are going track speed, and that's what I want. And Sark has talked about this, right? Sark, he'll say, I don't want a 12-play, 15-play drive. He even said it recently, Catch. He's like, yeah, we need to be about 6 to 7 plays and get out. Like, so Sark wants his speed guys. And it's interesting, when he got into the SEC, he said, well, they decided that, hey, it'd probably be good to go with a bunch of bigger, more physical receivers who as opposed to what he had, which was the thinner guys who can pretty much fly. And that make Xavier
We didn't have a bunch of monsters at Alabama, though. None of those guys were big.
But all of a sudden it was, hey, so outside of Dalen McCutcheon, who's not small by any stretch of the imagination, they went with a little bit of a bigger size guys, right? And so in this last recruiting class, you look at the Michael Terrys, you look at Lockett. You look at Jamie French, right? They went a little bit on the bigger side. It's like, all right, let's get some size.
No Brennan Thompson types.
No Brendan Thompson types, right? And listen, they made a decision, and this will piss off. What I'm going to say will piss off everybody in the building. It is what it is. They made a decision when it came to DeCorian Moore that they were like, you know what? Nah, we're not going to spend for that kind of thing, even though that's literally was the prototype of what they really kind of built their offenses around, which was that 5'11-ish, 6-foot-ish burner kind of guy, right? And so you've got your Ryan Wingos in here. You got Parker Livingstone in here.
I think they also were like, we'll take one Khalid Lockett and one Jamie French for two of those guys.
Yes.
For one DeCorian Moore. And I kind of understand why you would do that.
Sure.
Except Alabama ain't trying to trade Ryan Williams for two dudes. Ohio State's not, you know what I mean? There are 5-star receivers, and then there are 5-star receivers. And they're not all the same. I can just tell you, I did not look at DeCorian Moore and Jamie French as the same, or DeCorian Moore and Khalid Lockett. I would have just said, well, one guy's got to be a 6-star if all those guys are 5-stars. And DeCorian Moore here's the thing that I can't believe, and you and I know are on the same page because you and I have talked about this like 10 times this offseason. And as recently as Saturday for about a half hour, I cannot believe Sark, after Adonai Mitchell changed that team's season. We forget that first year in 2021 with Xavier Worthy, they were basically having open tryouts at wide receiver opposite Xavier.
Yeah.
Every week was a different starter, just trying to find somebody who would step up in that role. All the way down to the bowl game. I can't even remember who the hell started in the bowl game. I don't remember. It was somebody that I don't think it had started all season long. I think they transferred after that. It could have been anybody. When Sark got here, there were like 19 receivers on the roster. So it literally could have been anybody.
Now you're making me want to look. I'm going to look it up. I don't even know.
They go and get Adonai Mitchell. Not they found him in the portal. That kid was getting ready to play for a national championship, and everybody knew that he was going to Texas. That combination of Worthy and Mitchell is what led to them making the semifinals in year one. That with Jatavian Sand, like they were loaded. And they weren't great on defense either. Then the next year, Mitchell goes, Worthy goes. They got young guys like Jonte Cook, but no. He's like, I'm not taking any chances. I'm taking Alabama's best wide receiver. I'm taking that Matthew Golden guy because he scored a couple of touchdowns against us, and like, I'm gonna take him because I don't want to play him again this year. And then, they start taking guys. They took like 19 receivers last year. They took so many receivers that Silas Bolden, who I think would be a starter on this team this year, couldn't get on the field a year ago. They took 4 in the portal. To not take anybody in the portal this year with respect to, don't call him Emmanuel Sanders. Emmett Mosley, I did that on Saturday. I called him Emmanuel.
Again?
I didn't call him Emmanuel Sanders. I did call him Emmanuel Mosley. Though.
You went back to Emmanuel, though. Damn it, Catch.
It was the first time in a month, though, so I am kind of proud and disappointed.
Who is Emmanuel Mosley? Like, who is Emmanuel Mosley?
It's Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know why. I just want to keep calling him that.
Okay.
There is no one else. That's it.
Damn. Okay.
I just can't believe that they let guys like Casey Concepcion go to A&M, and there were guys available, and Texas was like, we're cool. They flirted a little bit with the Branch kid that went to Georgia, but they were like, we're not trying to take a brother, and they didn't want to take twins, and they just did not address that position in a way where it was like, oh, well, I don't know when that guy starts running with the first team, because we did this with Isaiah Bond and Golden a year ago. It was like, well, the first week of camp, they're with the twos. And we were like, okay, well, that's going to change. Eventually, they will be a 1, no doubt. There was just nobody this year from the portal, and I can't believe that Sark tasted the goodness of transfer wide receiver goodness 2 years in a row in ways that produce top of the draft players. And then they were like, no, we're good. Wingo more to freshmen. We'll figure it out.
It's just, there's a couple of things, Catch. It's like Texas decided that, you know what, this guys in a portal are costing too much money. So you know what, we've already paid these guys on our roster. Well, I guess it's probably time we got to play them at some point, right? And so there's a little part of that, which is, all right, well, we're getting you all these 5-stars, but we can't stack 5-star receivers and just never play them. So it's almost like they went to, all right, well, we did that, we got to this point, and now we're going to roll with what we have. And now you're waiting on guys who lack experience to basically come around. And until they come around, it might be more of a work in progress than we thought. Maybe, you know, there's an argument to be made that maybe they could have played a little bit more last year. That's neither here nor there. But Catch, you know, when we started talking about the wide receiver thing, the thing that I noted in my article, which is right now, and it's only 2 games, it's only a 2-game sample size, right? But Texas is currently ranked 14th in the SEC in long scrimmage plays. 14th. So only 16 teams, Catch, right? So that's pretty much near the bottom. And last year, they were 2nd in the SEC. And from a passing offensive standpoint, Texas is ranked 10th in the SEC, where last year they were ranked 4th. So there's certain things off. So long plays from scrimmage, even though people may say, oh, you know, Parker Livingstone went off and he has a couple good plays, that still has Texas, whatever you think that is, that still has Texas close to the bottom in the SEC.
Brian Wingo is averaging 10 yards a reception, which would be depressing if it wasn't side by side with DeAndre Moore's 6 yards per reception.
Yes. So so there is that thing where I know people say with the offensive line, so on and so forth, but there for me, Catch, it boils down to speed. And the speed that we've saw, whether it was the Xavier Worthy having that kind of speed, and again, all the other receivers that we mentioned, the Matthew Goldens and the Adonai Mitchells and everybody, Isaiah Bond, like those were speed guys, just blow it off, take the top off kind of guys that you had to account for. Right now, you've got some, I guess, potential possession receivers, but you don't have people who you're saying like, damn, this guy here can take it to the house at any moment. Like Texas doesn't have that right now, Catch. All right, I know we got super chats.
Yeah, hold that. We're going to circle back to that because I want to follow up on your comments, but we have a couple. We do need to hit them. Soto 806. Sorry, it took us a little bit, but why does the defense play like 21 points is good enough to play with so much cushion? They started good, but played soft after the takeaways. Soto, I think they just played. The defense, even more than the offense, was rotating in the whole team and like dudes off the street that they picked up on the bus. There was a lot of moving parts. So I think once you got into the 3rd and 4th quarters, I just think that at any given time, there were only a couple of frontline players on the field. So I think my answer to that would be in a closer game, the defense was fine. It was fine.
14 points. I mean, I gotta go back. I'll go to the final. It was 14 points. You know, it's not. I'm not putting it. I am not ready to have any conversation about this defense at this moment.
Well, no, and look, they did the thing the Ohio State performance was exemplary, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't force big plays. And look, people called me out when inside of talking about 100 things from the Ohio State game that could have been better. It's like, well, look, man, in a game that was essentially decided by one play, one team created a turnover and scored points off of it and the other didn't. And look, what you would say about what the defense did this weekend is when they created turnovers, it did lead to the offense scoring points. It was, when you look at that little 28-point flurry that Texas landed, it was both sides of the ball working in unison together. I took that as a positive more so than a negative from people who were like, well, look at the rest of the game. They only scored 10 points. And it's like, well, I know that, but for 10 minutes, they were the football team that they want to be. And I'm sure Sark will point to that and say, guys, that right there. And they'll look at some of the other stuff. And I think they will coach them harder this week after the win than they did after the Ohio State game, where you don't want to coach them too hard. They lost. You want to be proud of them, but you need to be serious with them. And they'll have it easy this week. It's easy when you make mistakes in a game where you beat the crap out of somebody. You can just let into them. And I really think they will this week. Jay Lee, $5 super chat. Doesn't help that Arch isn't very good right now. I was shocked again at times Saturday how poorly they executed banned word on YouTube down to down. Jay, I think you're being a little hard on Arch. Like at the end of the day, I think Anwar's right. I think from the eyeball test, you can tell that he wasn't elite. I would just say that, like, at the end of the day, he finishes with a 183 quarterback rating. You know, Quinn, who is an NFL quarterback, last year did that 3 times, I think, 4 times. It doesn't happen all the time. So when it does, we can't just go, oh, that only happened because a receiver caught the ball and ran and scored. He doesn't get any credit for that. Like, we don't nitpick we look at the end of the line and we go, hey, what games did they play really well in? What games did they didn't? And from a numerical standpoint, Arch played pretty well. I saw this stat, Anwar, and Jay, I think you're going to like this. I don't know why I looked it up. I think it started with Casey Thompson. And then I thought, I need to look up Hudson as well. Just like you mentioned the injuries under all 4 quarterbacks, I somehow found myself looking up the career quarterback ratings of the quarterbacks that Sark has worked with at Texas. 4 guys, right? Hudson Card's career quarterback efficiency rating just under Sarkeesian, not pre-Sark and not at Purdue, just 2 seasons, 2021 and 2022. 149.7. I looked at Casey Thompson's. Only 1 season, but he had a healthy number of throws. It wasn't a tiny number. 154.7. I looked up Quinn Ewers. Sample size, obviously not an issue. 3 years worth of starting. His career efficiency number under Sark, 148. I did not know this until yesterday. Somehow Quinn Ewers finished with a career passing efficiency under Sarkeesian lower than Hudson Card? What? Now look, I bring all this up, Jay Lee, specifically for you because Arch Manning, as his sample size gets larger, and look, we've now, 4 starts. He's sprinkled in some here and there. He's played on the road against a top 5, top number 1 team, as fate would have it. Arch is sitting at 166.2 so far. That is the best number of any quarterback that Sark has had. It's super early in Arch's career, and there is 25% of the big piece of sample size there was dreadful. So I think there's reason to be optimistic with Arch. I think there's reason to look at what Steve Sarkeesian has done at quarterback and go, Sark, what the hell, dude?
I mean, the only asterisk to that stat is that we're talking about starts versus Mississippi State last year, who wasn't good. La Monroe last year, who was not good. Ohio State this year, which is really good. And then San Jose State, which is not good.
No,
so 3 of those teams are not good teams.
But you know what? All those other guys got to play crappy teams too. Like Casey Thompson's 154.7 is largely built on those first 2 starts against UTSA and Rice or whoever the hell it was, and threw like 19 touchdowns in the first 2 starts. Everybody had
like some record. He had some crazy like touchdown record going for a while.
Yeah, no, But then he got hurt, and
Yeah.
it is not an insignificant piece of the puzzle. All I know is if we were to combine all of those guys together, the mean for all four is inside kind of what all of, like, there's no rabid outlier. In fact, the outlier right now is Arch Manning's on the positive side. And you're right. On one hand, it is largely built mostly on a sample size of dreadful opponents. But it's also at the beginning of his career. My anticipation is in a couple of weeks, the conversation around Arch sounds a little different. I even wrote this in my column. Like, here's hoping we get through next week, and there's not one time where I think to myself, oh, it looked like he was really struggling to get the ball out there. Instead, it all comes off easy. At some point, the hope is some of these nitpicks on Arch, because once we can get past the nitpicks on Arch, there are some real things that Texas needs to work on beyond Arch. We talked about the running backs. Whoo, those dudes run like they've got pianos on their backs. Texas has one 20-yard run or more in the first 2 games of the season, and that was an Arch Manning run. No Texas running back has gone more than 18 yards. C.J. Baxter had one of those. Only one Texas running back run this season of more than 15 yards. The previously mentioned 18-yarder by Baxter. They're not getting explosives out of that part of the game. We talked about the wide receivers. I mean, thank goodness Jack Andrews and Parker Livingston have come to play, because other guys you're kind of waiting on. And that offensive line, did you see the tweet that I put out yesterday from Pro Football Focus? So Gooseby was like in the 80s and look, we all know that Alex Dunlap and PFF, cockamamie as hell. I do not know who did these grades. It could have been somebody's cat, okay? But Trevor Gooseby was in the 80s for the performance against San Jose State. And quite honestly, if you're the guy that we think Trevor Gooseby is supposed to be, and you're playing against San Jose State, you probably should be in the 80s. You're supposed to be an NFL football player in the making. He was in the 80s. Against San Jose State, Brandon Baker was 59.1. But you know what? That is not nearly going to be as depressing as Cole Hudson's 47.4 or DJ Campbell's slightly, modestly better 64.3, which isn't good, but it ain't those other numbers either. And then, just in case any of us were sitting around going, Connor Stroh, hey, that's a positive development. 47.6.
Well, first of all, I checked your tweets. There's nothing there. So maybe you posted on the board or something. But there's nothing there.
It's from 8:54 yesterday morning. I'm looking at it right now.
8:54? I don't see anything.
It says I kind of feel like Ron Burgundy after Baxter eats the whole wheel of cheese. Because I was like, I'll send it to you.
But it's I see. Yeah, Brandon Baker, Cole Hudson. There you go. All right, I'll go for it. Hey, Catch. By the way, we have more super chats that come in. I pinned them all. We had like 5 come in.
Okay, well, let's just knock them out. Matt, all right, you super chat son of a guns. $5. Why won't Banks give Jonah a shot at kick and punt return? Matt, he hadn't played yet.
No. I
mean, they might, but like. The why is he hadn't been healthy enough yet, but that may be changing. We may see. I think we're going to see him over the course of the next couple of weeks, but not yet. Ruben for $5. What up, Ruben? Thanks for the $5. About Arch and Wingo developed great chemistry from last year. So why is their timing off this year? Don't you think this will be an ongoing, or do you think this will be an ongoing issue?
Ryan's like, yo, man, I invited you to the barbecue, dude. Where's my ball? Where's my ball? It's a weird thing, though.
It's in your hands, Ryan. Catch it.
Ouch.
Dude, he's had 16 targets through the first 2 games. Nobody else is in double digits. Like, they're trying to get him the football.
You know, can I say the thing that You and I will agree on this, and I'm just gonna say it. Everybody always wants practice notes and practice reports from us, and they demand practice notes and practice reports from us. And we always try to tell you like it's a zero-sum game because it's the same guys practicing against the same people all the time. And so, yes, somebody might say something and it might be looking good in some summer workout. Doesn't always just translate into the game where there's actually real bullets flying and real pressure. And so that's the thing. Like, yes, did you hear that there was great chemistry? There was great chemistry in the off season, but now when it comes to the regular season, now all of a sudden things change. Like Catch, we heard about all the great chemistry that Quinn was having with everybody, and then all of a sudden Matthew Golden showed up, right? And then it was like, oh, I think he has better chemistry with him. And the next thing you know, that's what it was, right? And so it happens.
I just realized, hey, the sponsor of the show today, Anwar, obviously is Rogue Shop.
Mm-hmm.
I need to show you something, okay?
What'd you get?
Man, so he sent me a box.
Wow. This is an unboxing video.
Yes, it's an unboxing video. I've already unboxed it, but it was so good. Yeah. I was like, I got to unbox it on Monday. So first of all, they sent me these Slap Yo Mama grape gummies.
Oh, grape?
Grape.
Ooh.
I have not yet partaken in these.
How many milligrams are those?
These are 250 milligrams.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow.
But then I got 2 of those, right? Just in case I didn't slap my mama with enough. And then,
whoa. Look at this. Look at that!
Hold on. It's just cartridges after cartridges. I've been arrested a year. I can't even dig down at the bottom of the box. It's just cartridges. There's like 40 cartridges. Are you
running a business, a side hustle?
Like a cherry pie. There's everything in here. So Richard, you and Shar, you lovely sons of guns. Thank you.
Are you like selling those on the side? Like what?
I am now. Shit. It's one of those things you wake up on a Saturday and you work, you drive to Austin, you do the post-game show. I got home and Heather was like, that box is heavy. You should open it up. She said it's from Rogue. I was like, oh, because I had asked, hey, I need a refill. Send me some stuff. I was like, it is heavy. I was like, I opened some jars of gummies in there. I opened it up. I could not believe my good fortune. It was literally like, you ever watch a movie where there's like someone has like a bag, like an ounce of cocaine and they flush it down the toilet? He sent me so much stuff. It was as if he had to get rid of it all because the law was knocking on the door and they were like, get all this stuff to catch in Texas. I'm so happy.
Damn. Richard hasn't sent me stuff in years.
You gotta ask. I asked. It wasn't
I'm on the damn show. What do I have to do? I promote the product.
Richard's a stoner like the rest of us. You gotta like ask, because otherwise it's an idea that sounds good, but then it just kind of goes out.
I'm almost scared to ask you how long it will last, because if you tell me, man, I'm gonna have to re-up in about another 2 months. I'm like, damn, you smoke a lot.
Hey, let me tell you who's gonna be the happiest person in the world is my mom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She's gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be the best son ever. I'm gonna be like, here's 10. Don't smoke it all in a week.
You hand those things out on Halloween for the adults.
Yes. There's 2 lines at Halloween. That'd be fun. Darian for $4.99. Thank you, Darian. So I've seen Arch and I've seen Mateer play. If I was a DC, I'd be more concerned about Mateer. He's ahead of where Arch is, but like Mateer, I thought Mateer was just okay on Saturday. I honestly watched that Michigan game. I thought a couple things about Mateer. He's better than Arch right now. B, they will break his ass if they keep trying to use him that much in the run game. And from a usage standpoint, that kid was not built to get hit 20 times a week in the SEC. Ask Quinn Ewers, eventually to Body Gibbs. And number 3, I think him and Arch, you can turn those dudes over. Mateer, Against a better team, Mateer throws a couple of picks. He threw a couple of YOLO balls. If you're Texas, man, because here's the thing that both Oklahoma and Texas have in common that they shouldn't. Neither of those dudes have personnel that scare you. Oklahoma's running backs are worse than Texas's. They've got Deion Burks at wide receiver, who's pretty good, but then nobody else is anybody that you have to game plan for. And we knew that about this team. Like, I think Mateer is going to have harder. That OU offense is going to have some tough days. So
listen, all I gotta say, Catches, you're gonna need one of your quarterback predictions to hit because Julian's saying, I know you said you weren't high on him.
I was.
Okay. No, you were. I thought you were not that great.
I said Julian saying might be the number one pick of the 2028 NFL draft.
Okay, so maybe I get it confused with Gunnar Stockton, who you thought
sucked.
Okay, you thought he sucked. You thought Mateer sucked. And
I think Mateer sucked. I think Mateer's good.
You thought he sucked. You thought he was pretty good.
I think he's. I just didn't think he was.
You thought, and you thought Klubnik was going to be amazing. So I got to get you. We got to get you on track. We just got to get you on track.
I'm on track.
Klubnik sucks.
I mean, it's simple.
No, he sucks. I'm not saying he will suck the whole year long.
I feel like you're
right
bringing
now. He sucks.
Literally, the question is about Arch and Mateer, and you've gone out of your way to bring up Cade Klubnik because you want to rub my face in it. So go ahead.
Well, as the president of the Quinn Ewers fan club, who we haven't had meetings in a really long time.
I'm confused because I remember when those two dudes played against each other.
Yeah,
who do you think was the best quarterback on the field?
Well, it's Klubnik.
I don't know how we got to this place, Anwar. You were supposed to be on Klubnik Island with me.
I was, and then I just got on then I switched. I just switched. I was on Klubnik Island. I was the guy that said I saw him. I saw him before he was ever playing in high school.
You were like, you know what? This boat is leaving. I'm going to get off. I don't want to be on this boat anymore. And then
I just got off. I just got off.
And you're like, oh, Ewers Island? They serve good drinks here. I'm good. And you just never got off.
I just haven't. I was like, this is kind of cool. I was like, I know that boat looks like a party boat. Like, I was like, that boat looks amazing. Look at that. They're having a lot of fun over there. But I was like, yo, I'm going to go over here. Let's stay.
They have more fun on the Ewers boat than they have on the Klubnik boat.
Because it was way more
One
fun.
guy chose to play with Steve Sarkeesian, and the other guy chose to play for Dabo Swinney. In a way, it tells you about the personalities that you need to know.
There's things I'll say off air about that, but they both have a lot of same belief systems.
If somebody were to tell me, like, yo, who'd you go play college football for? And they said, Barry Switzer, I'd be like, that dude can come hang out with me at my house. He's going to be fun.
All the freaking time. All right, we got more. We got more super chats. By the way, no one answered my question. I tagged everybody on our staff in my column on Sunday. I turned it off my laptop. I said, and I wanted to know, was anybody on our staff going to have the balls in our SEC power rankings to rank Oklahoma ahead of Texas in our power rankings this week?
Well, why would you? They're not better than Texas.
Is an Ohio State loss better than an Oklahoma win versus Michigan?
What do you think? That Oklahoma team, had they played in Columbus, loses by what? They don't stay within a touchdown.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm not clearly. This is a Texas-based channel, right? I'm not going to go beat the drum for Oklahoma, but I'm saying. So we're all going to say
Vegas has that after the weekend. That is Texas is a 9.5 point favorite
versus OU.
Yes.
I'll be interested to see. It's a fascinating one.
I don't think anybody's going to do it. But OU,
I'm thinking about it. No. I'm thinking about it.
Thinking about it ain't the same as doing
it. Well, that's true.
You do it.
I'm also thinking about having
goes for you.
I'm also thinking about having Florida as my last place team.
Well, some things are earned. The thing is, I had Oklahoma winning that game all off season. That is a game that I thought that they would win this season. As last week, I thought they would win that game. In fact, I joked that they would storm the field after winning it, and they didn't do that. They just carried their coach off on their shoulders.
Hey, man, they've been through so much, man. Like, I can't even hate, man. Look, I know what we know. Listen, we have compared Venables and Charlie Strong a lot.
You know that you used to be carried off the field as a coach when you won the Super Bowl.
That's what used to be the only time you get a Gatorade dunk as well.
Only time.
Yeah.
We've now reached the point. I give up.
They Gatorade dunk over regular season wins now.
Oh my God. Ray said for $1.99, any chance of Michael Terry hitting the field? Sure. This week? Absolutely. But I don't know that's what he's asking. And the question he might be asking is no.
If he's asking, will he play a significant role in the offense? The answer is no. Can he hit the field occasionally? Probably, sure.
Although some dudes don't start getting open, catching the ball, and creating some big plays, they might put them freshmen out there.
I mean, I think Dalen would be the guy that you got to put out there. Like, to me, you give him a shot.
Oh, Tom. By the way, Tom, we need to talk about what happened with the fantasy football draft. Next time you go out of town and you want me to do a draft for you, give me your login information. I hope that the automated draft did you okay. It usually does, but believe me, I was frustrated. For $20, I tried. All the fellas can tell you I was there. I tried. What's up, OB fam? Ireland was great. Humble brag. But glad to be back. I've never been to Ireland. Would love to. I got back in time to catch this week's game, sloppy game. And is Simmons our new Killebrew? WTF with all these penalties? Tom, that's one for the kids. Nobody under the age of 35 knows who you just referenced. If he doesn't start playing better and stop committing penalties, then yes, by default, Colin Simmons would be the new Robert Killebrew. What I would say is that Robert Killebrew was a starter on the national championship team that was literally one of the only guys that wasn't good enough to play in the NFL. That is not Colin Simmons, but he has not started the season playing like an All-American. He's playing in a way that has you comparing him to Robert Killebrew. Damn, Tom. Last one from what I can see for $1.99 from Brian. And then we got to get going because Onward's got to get his ass down to Belmont. $1.99, need to add Jonah to the struggling return game. Brian, they just need to get him on the field. Like, I think he's back in practice, but they weren't going to just throw him to the wolves. They need to make sure that this hamstring injury is a thing of the past. But yeah, like, honestly, Brian, you spent $1.99 to nag about the return game? I feel like that's at the back of the line. But I feel you because there is no return game. But, Brian, I got other things on my mind besides that one, if I'm just being completely honest.
I mean, the punt game's better, but I mean, yeah. I mean, there's so yeah. I get it. Yes, you're a Jonah guy. I get it. Got it. There's another super chat that just.
Oh, I see that. Last one, guys. Stop sending them in because we do have to wrap it up. Barbs10 says my overreaction.
Oh,
Simmons and Wingo too much in their own socials. Ty Anthony needs more runs. Stay off Killebrew. I worked with him and he's good. Barbs, was my fault.
That's so random.
Has Robert Killebrew ever cooked for you?
That is so.
Because when Robert Killebrew was played for Texas, he was known as like the best cook on the team. There was a lot of talk that he might one day become a chef.
That's
Barbs. Has he ever cooked for you?
That is amazing. Hey, Simmons and Wingo. I don't know if they are too much in their socials. They're just young. Young people are always in their socials. That's just we're just older.
Yeah, don't be old. Tom G's, I lied, snuck in a $10 super chat. Can we give a shout out to our kicker? We finally have a field goal kicker with like 5 exclamation marks. Tom?
Do we? He kicked one, right?
Hey, I will just say this. It was tried. It was true. It didn't look great. I didn't watch that ball, and it didn't explode off of his foot in a way that made me think, that guy's kicking in the NFL one day. But you know what happened? That ball went straight through them goalposts.
He made it.
At no point when that ball left his foot did I think it wasn't going to be good. That's a good beginning. Nice job, Mason Shipley. We honestly don't want to see him a ton, but when we do see him, we like it to be right down the middle. Nice job, young man.
It's just funny. I would love to know what makes Sark decide when he's going to go for a field goal or not. And he said, like, hey, you know what he said after the game? He's like, well, I figured like I wanted to at least give him a shot to see what it's like. And it's like, oh, that was kind of nice of you. Because at the end of the day, that's cool. But don't get down in the red zone, dude. And Shipley, Mason, don't start warming up. Don't start kicking. Don't start warming up when they get in the red zone. You ain't getting a shot, dude. You just might as well. You might get an extra point attempt. You ain't gonna get a 34-yarder. I can tell you that much.
All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. Onwards got to get down to Belmont. We got to get ready for Steve Sarkeesian's Monday morning, the week after San Jose State leaving the UTEP. Guys,
and by the way, don't y'all be yelling about why did you ask about? First of all, okay, just real quick. Everybody who DMs me and tells me to ask a question to Sarkeesian, and I get these DMs every single week. Hey, can you ask him this? Look, I get one question. And if I feel like your question is the best question, maybe, but I only get one. I'm going to try to ask my one. And if you go, and guess what? When everybody goes into the mindset of, I got to ask my one, sometimes the one question that should be asked doesn't get asked. I'll do my best. But I don't, if there's red zone, y'all want to know about red zone. Y'all want to know about injuries. Y'all want to know about all these arch. Like, there's a lot to cover. I can't guarantee it's all going to get covered. Sorry, guys. Don't DM me and ask me to ask anything.
Leave him alone. All right, guys. Thanks to the Rogue Shop. I'm about to take some. I'm about to get after it. Rogue. If you need product, call me. No, if you need product, rogueshop.com, promo code OrangeBloods. Get that discount. The back to school sale is over, but the good times in a product and the good sales over at Rogue Shop forever lasting. For myself and Anwar Richardson and all of you in the Specs chat, we'll be back soon. Anwar will be back tomorrow. I'll be back in a couple of hours. The conversation never stops here on Orange Bloods Live until next time. Sandman, he will not ask him about his tan. You guys have
Text Bob said, can we DM you? Did you see her put this Oklahoma fan on blast a couple of weeks ago who slipped into her DMs and like he started talking shit? So she like screenshot dude who's like already in a relationship trying to like hit on her. It's like, don't even worry about that. I was like, oh shit. It was like 2 weeks ago. I haven't addressed it. But anyway.
I just feel like dudes. This all started with Brett Favre. It's just some point, guys just were like, I don't care. Everything goes all the time. It's like, aren't you married? Yeah, but it's just a pick. For myself and Anwar Richardson, you guys have a good one. Keep it in your pants. Don't send that send button. Treat women with respect. Treat your loved ones with respect.